Welcome back to the channel Coin Collectors and Treasure Hunters. If you're a fan of rare coins, historical discoveries, and hidden gems you might just find in your pocket change, you're in for a real treat today. Imagine holding a simple 1-cent coin, something you'd normally pass by without a second thought, only to find out it's worth more than $920,000. That's right, in this video, we're diving deep into one of the most astonishing stories in the world of numismatics, the story of the 1974 Liberty 1-cent coin. This seemingly ordinary penny from the United States has become a sensation among collectors because of its extraordinary value, all due to a fascinating combination of errors, minting anomalies, and historical context that has turned a 1-cent coin into a small fortune. Now, you might be wondering, how could a coin that's supposed to be worth just a penny, 1 cent, end up being valued at nearly $1 million? That's exactly what we're going to explore in full detail. We'll uncover the truth behind this coin's rarity, the types of minting mistakes that make it so special, and why collectors around the world are going crazy trying to get their hands on one. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just someone fascinated by the unexpected ways history and human error can create incredible value, you're going to love what we have in store. Let's start by stepping back in time to 1974. It was a year filled with political drama, economic uncertainty, and significant changes in the U.S. Mint's operations. The Vietnam War was winding down, Watergate was unfolding, and the American economy was grappling with inflation and rising commodity prices. Copper, the primary metal used in the production of pennies, had become increasingly expensive. In response to this, the U.S. Mint began experimenting with alternative materials for the 1-cent coin to reduce costs. This led to a now famous series of test strikes in different compositions, most notably aluminum. What's crucial to understand is that the official, circulated 1974 pennies were made primarily of a bronze alloy, which was a mix of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. However, in an effort to cut costs, the Mint also produced a number of experimental aluminum pennies, somewhere between 1.5 million and 1.6 million of them at the Philadelphia Mint. These aluminum pennies were never officially released to the public, and most of them were recalled and destroyed. However, a few slipped through the cracks, and it's believed that less than 2 dozen still exist today, with only a few confirmed in private hands. While these aluminum cents are already considered incredibly rare and valuable, the 1974 Liberty 1 cent we're talking about today isn't just about aluminum. It's about a very special category of error coins that, for various reasons, were struck incorrectly during the minting process. These errors can include double dies, off-center strikes, die caps, planchet errors, wrong metal compositions, and even missing or misapplied mint marks. Each of these potential anomalies adds to the rarity of a coin and can drastically increase its value. In the case of the 1974 Liberty 1 cent worth $920,000, we're looking at a coin that combines several unusual features. First and foremost, there are known examples of the 1974 D aluminum cent, which should never have been struck at the Denver Mint in the first place. Officially, all the aluminum test coins were produced in Philadelphia, which did not use a mint mark at the time. Yet, somehow, a few aluminum pennies were struck in Denver and bear the D mint mark. This makes them a double anomaly. Not only are they made of a composition that was never supposed to be circulated, but they were struck at a mint that wasn't even supposed to be part of the testing program. This kind of minting mistake raises a ton of questions. How did the aluminum blanks get to Denver? Was it intentional? Was it a rogue mint employee? Could someone have smuggled out the coins? No one really knows for sure, which only adds to the mystery and allure of this rare piece. What we do know is that the U.S. Mint has tried hard to reclaim these aluminum coins, treating them as government property not intended for public ownership. This has only driven up the interest and value among collectors and auction houses. Now, let's talk a bit more about how errors like these occur and why they're so significant. A coin can become an error coin in many ways. For example, a double die occurs when the die used to strike the coin was engraved with a slightly misaligned or duplicated image. When the coin is struck, this error is transferred, resulting in a coin that looks like it has doubled letters or numbers. On a 1974 penny, a double die on the "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" inscription would be considered highly desirable. Another type of error is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank planchet is not properly aligned with the dies when it is struck, resulting in a coin that's partially missing design elements. If a 1974 penny has an off-center strike, especially one that still shows a visible date and mint mark, it can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on how dramatic the misalignment is. Planchet errors are another category to be aware of. These occur when the metal blank used to create the coin is flawed in some way. This could be due to improper alloy mixing, incorrect weight, or even the use of the wrong metal entirely. The most famous planchet error from 1974 is, of course, the use of aluminum instead of the standard bronze alloy. But there have also been reports of 1974 pennies struck on foreign planchets or on leftover blanks from other coin series. Then there are mint mark errors. Mint marks are small letters that identify which U.S. mint facility struck the coin: P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, S for San Francisco. These marks are typically placed on the coin die manually, and human error can lead to a variety of mint mark issues. A missing mint mark, a doubled mint mark, or even an upside-down mint mark can significantly boost a coin's value. For the 1974 Liberty penny, the presence of a D mint mark on an aluminum cent adds a whole new level of rarity because, as we discussed earlier, those coins weren't supposed to exist. So how does a coin like this go from being a humble penny to a six-figure collectible? It all comes down to rarity, demand, and provenance. Only a handful of these 1974 D aluminum cents are believed to exist, and each one carries a powerful story. They're not just rare, they're controversial. The U.S. Mint doesn't officially acknowledge them, and legal battles have occurred over their ownership. When one of these coins appeared at auction, it made headlines, and the estimated value shot up to $920,000 because of its uniqueness and the mystery surrounding its creation. Collectors are willing to pay astronomical amounts for such coins because they represent a perfect storm of history, error, and intrigue. They're time capsules from a pivotal era in American history, shaped by economic pressures and human fallibility. They also serve as a reminder that even in highly controlled environments like the U.S. Mint, unexpected things can and do happen. What's also fascinating is that there could still be more of these rare coins out there, tucked away in old coin jars, inherited collections, or forgotten drawers. That's part of what keeps the numismatic world buzzing. People dream of discovering one of these valuable errors in their change. It's like winning the lottery, only it's a lottery rooted in history and curiosity rather than pure chance. The 1974 Liberty penny isn't the only coin from that era with extraordinary value, but it's certainly one of the most talked about. Its high value comes not just from the metal it's made of or the condition it's in, but from the story it tells. The errors that make it so valuable are a testament to the imperfections of even the most precise systems. These are the kinds of mistakes that make collectors go wild and auction houses set new records. If you're someone who collects coins or is just starting to learn about them, keep your eyes peeled. Always check your change. Look closely at the date, the mint mark, and any possible abnormalities. You never know, you might be the next person to stumble upon a coin that changes your life. And even if you don't find one worth nearly $1 million, the thrill of the hunt and the joy of learning about these miniature pieces of history can be just as rewarding. Today, we're diving into the world of numismatics. Yes, that's the study and collection of currency, including coins, tokens, paper money, and related objects. And at the center of today's journey is a tiny copper coin that you've probably seen or even held before, a humble 1984 Liberty 1-cent coin. But wait, before you dismiss it as just another penny you'd toss into the change jar, hold on. This isn't just any penny. This is a coin with a story. A coin that, thanks to some rare and mysterious minting mistakes, has sold for an astonishing $520,000. Yes, you heard that right. Over $500,000 for a 1-cent coin. How is that even possible? That's what we're about to explore, so sit back, relax, and prepare to be amazed. Let's begin with a little background. The 1984 Lincoln cent, often called the Liberty 1 cent because of the bold word "Liberty" stamped into its left side, was minted in the United States as part of the ongoing production of pennies featuring President Abraham Lincoln. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, this design has been iconic for more than a century. By 1984, the Lincoln cent had already gone through some changes. Originally made from 95% copper, the composition was changed in 1982 to a predominantly zinc core with a thin copper plating. That small change had massive implications in terms of minting errors, because the different metals behave differently under pressure and heat. Now, most 1984 pennies are common. In fact, billions were made that year at various mints across the country, including the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. But once in a while, due to minor misalignments, defects in the dies, or inconsistencies in the striking process, a small handful of coins emerge from the mint with errors. Most of these errors are subtle and go unnoticed. But every so often, something truly special happens, a mistake so rare that it instantly turns a simple coin into a valuable collectible. The 1984 penny that sold for $520,000 was one of those special coins. And the reason it fetched such an astronomical price was due to a now famous error known as the double die obverse, or DDO. Essentially, this means that during the minting process, the die that strikes the image into the coin's blank planchet slipped or was improperly aligned, causing a doubling effect. On the 1984 penny, this doubling is most visible on Abraham Lincoln's earlobe. Yes, an extra earlobe made all the difference. Under magnification, you can clearly see a second outline of the earlobe just beneath the primary one, and that's what drives collectors wild. It's not just a visual oddity, it's proof of a rare and highly collectible minting error, but here's where things get even more interesting. The double die obverse isn't the only thing that makes this coin valuable. There are other variables at play that have created a perfect storm for rarity and desirability. One of those variables is the mint mark, or, in some cases, the lack thereof. Coins produced at the Philadelphia Mint traditionally don't carry a mint mark, while those from Denver and San Francisco are marked with a small d or s, respectively. Some of the 1984 DDO pennies are believed to have variations in their mint marks, where the D may appear distorted, off-centered, or completely missing due to die polishing or wear. These inconsistencies further enhance the coin's uniqueness, and numismatists are always on the hunt for such anomalies. Let's not forget condition. A coin's grade, as determined by services like PCGS or NGC, can dramatically affect its value. The grading scale ranges from poor 1 to mint state 70, and it considers wear, luster, color, strike quality, and eye appeal. Most coins that circulate for decades show signs of wear, scratches, nicks, discoloration, you name it. But the 1984 DDO penny that sold for $520,000 was graded in a near-pristine condition. It was found to be almost flawless, which is incredibly rare considering its age and how many of these coins were casually tossed into pockets and piggy banks. Another factor that plays a huge role in the coin's valuation is provenance and auction history. When a coin of this rarity and condition goes up for auction, especially with a story behind it and intense interest from high-end collectors, the bidding can reach levels that surprise even experienced numismatists. In this case, the 1984 double die obverse penny made headlines not just for its condition and rarity, but because it highlighted how small details in the minting process can lead to monumental discoveries. Now let's talk more about the double die phenomenon. It's not unique to the 1984 penny, but the way it appears on this coin is particularly distinctive. What happens in a double die error is that during the process of creating the dies used to strike coins, a hub, the device that imprints the image onto the die, is impressed more than once. If these impressions don't align perfectly, you get a doubling of the design. This isn't to be confused with machine doubling, which is a more common and far less valuable type of doubling caused by vibration during the coin striking process. True double die coins are much rarer and can be confirmed through close inspection and authentication. Collectors who specialize in error coins look for other varieties and possibilities on the 1984 penny as well. Some are searching for die cracks, die chips, planchet flaws, off-center strikes, and even transitional errors, where a coin is struck on a blank from the wrong year or wrong metal composition. Though no confirmed 1984 transitional errors have surfaced to the level of fame as the double die obverse, the sheer possibility keeps people hunting. And that's part of the magic of coin collecting. You never know what might turn up. Imagine, for a moment, how many times someone might have held a rare coin like this and had no idea what they were looking at. Maybe it sat at the bottom of a drawer for years. Maybe it got dropped into a vending machine or tossed into a fountain. It's the thrill of the unknown that keeps collectors poring through rolls of pennies, eyes scanning for just the right shape, the right gleam, the right error. So why does the market value a coin like this so highly? Well, it comes down to a few key principles: rarity, demand, condition, and historical interest. The 1984 DDO penny hits all of these categories. There are only a handful of high-grade examples known to exist. The doubling is dramatic enough to be noticeable and distinct, making it easy to spot for trained eyes. The condition of the most valuable examples is impeccable. And there's strong demand in the numismatic community for major double die coins, especially from popular years like the 1980s, which saw a lot of coinage and thus potential for error. Finally, there's the simple wonder of how such a small object can hold such value. It's not just seasoned collectors who care about these finds either. Thanks to social media and the rising popularity of treasure hunting channels and viral coin videos, a new generation of collectors is being introduced to the hobby. They're learning to look closer at their change, to pull out that old jar of coins from the attic, and to start hunting for overlooked gems. And the 1984 penny with its tiny doubled earlobe is one of the stars of this modern coin collecting movement. Of course, not all 1984 pennies are worth a fortune. Most are still just worth 1 cent. But the existence of even one coin that sold for over $500,000 proves that hidden treasure is still out there. That coin didn't look flashy. It wasn't made of gold or silver. But it had something even more rare, an error that slipped through quality control, survived decades of circulation, and was finally recognized for its true value. So, the next time you get a handful of change, take a second to look closer. Pay attention to the details. What's printed, what's not, what's out of place. That slight doubling in a date or a mint mark that seems off-center might be the clue to a life-changing discovery. And who knows? Maybe you'll be the next lucky person to find a fortune hiding in plain sight, right there on a 1 cent coin.